Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, hopefully exciting, Vobes show. I'm Richard Vobes. I'm looking around as if there's somebody in the room. I suddenly just thought there was somebody there. It was really weird. Hello. Whoever you are, who's just strolled into the house. Where are you? Cheeky monkey. Cheeky monkey. What? Must have been Eric. Welcome to the Vobes show on the 16th of October 2020. Slight technical problem at the start of today's show. Not quite sure what was going on. Tried to set the stream up as I normally do in the normal fashioned way. This is very boring and technical, but wouldn't do it. And then in the end, there was a couple of streams, and I think it was like, which one is he going to be on? Which one? Which one is it going to be? Then suddenly, bang, there we were, live. Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday, the end of the week. Oh, thank goodness, the weekend before us. But some people, of course, do work over the weekend. Some people have got to get up early and visit the post office, although the post office have changed their hours depending on when you want to pick up a parcel. When you want to pick up a penguin, it's okay. But when you want to pick up a parcel, completely different thing. I have a parcel which has been sent to me, but I was away this morning. I was out filming, you know, the sort of stuff that I do, the Bald Explorer stuff, where I scrape off my hair and look bald, wander around the countryside, look engaged, all that kind of nonsense. And so the postman arrived like that, banging on the door. Well, if he banged on the door, it'd probably just blow open because it's a little bit weak. But he realised I wasn't in, so he thought, well, instead of putting it in my little box, and I have a nice little box, because he needs a signature, I think, or something like that, or to witness some human being take it. And, of course, Eric is very helpful in that department, but he's not a human being, so the postman wouldn't give it to him. So snatched it back from the little imp and went back to the post office. So I thought, oh, well, that's all right. I got back in. Yeah, it's about lunchtime. I'll just nip up to the post office and pick up my parcel, not pick up a penguin. And I discovered that they shut at 12 o'clock. Oh, 12 o'clock? What time do you call that? They open at 8 and shut at 12 on a Friday. On a Friday. Tomorrow, they're open till 2. You think, what Friday? It's just, we just go home early on a Friday. Oh, we done enough work. Yeah, 2-hour working week, isn't it? These days, we just do 2 hours and then we sling our hook. No, I mean, people pay for first class, but we won't give them a first class service. After all, we went through that whole debacle, which was consortia. Why would we bother now? Not like the old days when the penny black was there and you'd pay a little penny and you'd get a little black stamp shoved on it and the little man would come running out and grab it and run down to the post office and then they'd bung it onto a coach and then the flying gallops would go trundling across the old macadam roads, and the Telford engineering would ensure that the six and horse and the horses and six, 6 and 4, I don't know what they call it, the coaches, rundling, trundling, mundling, whatever the words are, down across the highway and would get down it. What would they call them? They were the something fly, not the Spanish fly, I don't think it was that. They shot across the country from one end of the other from John O'Groats to Land's End, dishing out the post left, right and centre, blowing their horn, get out of the King's Highway, for the postman is coming. Yes, in the old days, for a penny, you could send 100 million letters. And these days, oh, no, 12 o'clock, mate, sorry, clocking off. Dink, dink, we've got the weekend to come. Because it's cold, you see, it's cold. And yet, after 12 is warmest part of the day. And now it's freezing, but they're all tucked up by their fires. And, it's all right for postmen, isn't it? I've often thought this. It's all right for the postman if they can't afford their bills. Don't worry about that. They probably keep a whole load of brown envelopes from their round, and in the evenings they sit by their fire burning them. And they can just keep themselves warm that way. And nobody gets the bills and everybody's happy. Hello to everybody who's just tuned in to the rather wacky and slightly zany Vobes show on a Friday, the 16th of you-know-what. Hello to the lovely Julia and to Judith, who both of them together are our special girl guides who will be making sure that none of you get up to mischief. And if you do, well, I don't want to say what they'll get up to make sure that you behave, but I'm sure they'll do something absolutely spot on, because they are spiffing people. Glastonbury Gabriel, who says EBBC ending all. I'm not quite sure what that means. That's technical term, I'm sure. It's an acronym for something. Jackie Trainer says, hello all. Ron Langley also copies that and says, evening all. Ernie Samet says, Tally-o, Richard, another glorious day down here in Devon. We're so jealous about you being down there in Devon. Watching for the first time on my Big Mac. Don't, when you watch me on your Big Mac as you eat it, don't eat my head first. My legs, start at the feet. You can't see my feet, but start at my feet as you munch through. Oh, my Big Mac monitor. Oh, it's in the study. That sounds very nice. Have you got a roaring fire? We all want a nice roaring fire, don't we? How lovely. Ernie Samet says, good evening to Julia, Judith and fellow fans, which is marvellous. Thank you very much for that. John F., good evening to you, sir. Mike Stevens, lovely to see that. Is that a new jumper? No, I've had this for a while, actually. This is a jumper from, are they still going? Debenhams. I think they're still just holding on, aren't they? Debenhams. Is it the end, ladies and gentlemen? Here's a question for you. With the COVID situation and everybody losing their jobs left, right and centre, and indeed the will to live or the will to vote for another government or anything evermore, because everybody lies and tells you fibs, are the department stores a thing of the past? Have they gone now? Because many have gone to the wall. I think that John Lewis has started his Christmas adverts. They're famous for them. One started up on a YouTube video. I quickly quit it. I didn't want to watch it. Last year, John Lewis's advert, like the rest of them, was it last year or the year before, was so politically correct and race sensitive and had basically whitewashed all white people from their adverts and made out that, like in recent years, do you remember adverts changed from being just nice, cosy adverts that just told you here's a product, and then they went through this weird thing that men were rubbish, men were all weak, and women were all empowered, and men were just like, oh, I don't know how to do it anymore. What? Put things in the washing machine? I don't know. I don't know how to do it. There was a phase when all advertisers, I mean, they're all from this weirdy, wokey thing. Let's not get into all of that. But there was this sort of thing where men were sort of enfeebled. And now, of course, last year the John Lewis ones was basically saying, oh, whatever. And then Gillette went through that terrible thing, didn't it, of saying men are crap, so crap they can't shave. And, of course, nobody bought their razors. You just wonder who's in charge. Who's in charge of all of this stuff? I've got this idea. Let's piss off men and make out that they're absolutely, useless. Oh, that's a great idea. I think that's marvellous. What a brilliant idea. Yes. How will that affect our sales exactly, seeing as we principally sell to men? Oh, they'll love it. Will they? Did they? No, they didn't. I think they realised they shot themselves in the foot. As indeed, I'm sure people like Sainsbury's, who have recently embraced all this sort of stuff, and all those people who've gone in for the transgender nonsense and all that, will eventually kind of go, oh, what were we thinking? We were just... we just got herded along with the crowd. Yeah, you did. Anyway, so we got onto adverts. I don't know where we were going with any of that. Anyway, John F. we got to, and Mike Stevens, he says, is it, a new jumper? Oh, yes, it's Debenhams. That's the question. Have department stores, get the English correct, have departments come to the end? Is it over for them? Or do we see that department stores actually are the future? Because nobody now, the small businesses, can't afford to have the rent of a shop space on their own. So maybe you need these big department stores in which, like the old-fashioned market, will rent a little bit of space. Do you remember when you used to go past, what was it, the sock shop, and scarves are us, and nose cones are for you, and all of that. Nosegays, back in the day of the stinking world in the Middle Ages, when people used to have nosegays. Now we have muzzles, but in those days, nosegays were great. Let's not make any jokes about gays and noses, shall we? Or indeed brown noses. Anyway, let's crack on. Andrew Norris, what ho, Vobesters, hello to you. Anna Jones is there. Tracy Strickland, good afternoon, good evening to you. Days of Yore, wrong stream. Oops, sorry about that. Yes, I did delete it, actually. I hope it has now ceased and desist being a stream. Ernie the Milkman says, hello, Andrew. Lunchtime, says Mike Stevens, questioning. Kerry Baldwin says, oh, I found you. Evening all. Sorry about that. It was a bit of a tricky start to today's show. Always a bit something. He's gone AWOL. Yes, I'm always going AWOL. Sorry about that. Yes, it's a great shame that department stores at Debenhams is embarrassingly quiet, says Robert Croser. Hello to you up there in Cumbria. It's a shame. I actually quite like those department stores. We used to have a Beals. I don't know if Beals was the be-all or end-all of everything, but we used to have one of those. We used to have Man at C&A. We spoke about that a few weeks ago. Do you remember? C&A, Man at C&A. You could go in there. And all of that was great. Grace Brothers was a wonderful department store, says Rick M. Yes, that's true. You're all doing very well. What happened to them? All online, says, yes, everything is all online now. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I mean, forget the COVID situation and going in with masks, permanently. I mean, the one good thing the masks are now quite useful is you can shove them over your face when you're going down the street and it's blowing a blizzard, and at least it keeps your face warm. The process of what scarves used to do. But take that out of the thing, never mind COVID and all of that. In this modern day, isn't it nice? If assuming we were back where we were this time last year, shall we say, before COVID was a thing, to go into a department store and have a little rummage and go, oh yes, let's have a look in the bedding department. No, not very much up there. Let us go up there. Or is it better to have infinite ponderings over everything that you can possibly buy online? It's like going into a sweet shop, isn't it? Where they've got the myriad of sweets and you go, oh, yes, oh, I didn't know, wait a minute, hang on. Whereas if you go into a sweet shop and it's just like, well, you can have these suckers or these chewers, what you going to have, love? Oh, actually, I quite fancy some suckers. I'll have the sucker. There's one born every minute. Then that's a sensible thing, isn't it? That is a sensible thing. But when you've got too much choice, too much choice. Linda Kane is there. Hello, Linda Kane. Nice to see you. Very good of you to drop in. Online shopping is the death knell. Apparently, a community department store is going to open in Worthing, whatever that means. A community department store. Is that a bit like jury service, where we're all members of the community will have to serve and stand behind a trestle table, a bit like the old-fashioned jumble sale, and stand there and going, yeah, can I help you? What do you want? Toothpaste? Yeah, we've got some toothpaste, yeah. What would you like? Acrylic jumper, yeah. That one? Nice green. What do you think? No? We've got blue acrylic jumpers. Oh, wool? What kind of wool would you like? We've got red wool, green wool, merino wool? I don't know what that is. Merino? Isn't that a car? Merino? Morris Merino? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. My dad had one. I don't know what you're talking about. Is that what it's going to be like? That a member of the community is going to end up doing shopping service, community shopping, whatever that is. Clive Waterfall finally says, tracked you down eventually. Sorry about that. We were lurking in a very disrespectful part of the internet here. Darren Howell says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Jackie Traynor. Mike, human contact has been banned. That's true. Yes, it's just been banned. We're not allowed any sort of contact whatsoever. Andy Joy, good evening to you. Joy to see you. And Mike Stevens says, now, more than ever, we need each other rather than an impersonal screen. Yes, so that's what you're looking at, isn't it? An impersonal screen. There's an impertinent man on your impersonal screen making terrible jokes and trying to entertain you. It would be far better if you all just turned up. If I hired a nice little hall and we all turned up and we had a good laugh and I performed some sort of show, some vague show, and you all laughed and threw pennies at me or rotten tomatoes. So at least I could go back and make some sort of tomato stew. That would be useful. Kendall's in Manchester is empty. Is that do they still make the mint cake, by the way, or is that a different place? Audrey Forbes, that was David Mills, by the way. Tracy Mills, hello to you. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming in. Audrey Forbes says, I still have a couple of items from Sixth Sense at CNA. What is that? What would that be? Is that one of those things that politicians always say they never have? Oh, I don't have a crystal ball. They always say that, don't they? Why do they say that? We know they don't have a crystal ball. They're not sort of all gypsy colours and things in a little tent. Imagine that. It would be so much better if you went to see your MP or you were voting for your Prime Minister or whatever it was, and they were stood there or sat there hunched over a big crystal ball going, oh, yes, I can see into the future. There will be this terrible pandemic and everybody will be locked up and won't be able to go out and I will be the culprit. Oh, wait, the Mr. Going. I can't see anything. Oh, is it Charlton Heston in Ben-Hur? Goodness gracious, he's on a chariot. That would be so much better if they actually did have a crystal ball. I often think, you know, when they're talking to a radio presenter or a TV presenter and they say, well, you know, we don't have a crystal ball, the presenter should go, oh, well, all right, you haven't got one. Here, take this. Here's a crystal ball. Now go and look into that and tell us what the bloody future is. That's what they should do, shouldn't they? I mean, it makes perfect sense. No, I don't have a crystal ball. Well, get one. They're not that expensive. In fact, there we are. Look, Amazon, $9.99, genuine crystal, lovely. It's just an opinion, of course. You can disagree with me with your heart's content. What? Oh my goodness! Days of yours. I don't know what that means. Vignerettes are us. Nice flower though. I have to confess, it's a lovely flower that you are displaying for those sitting at home. It's watching in black and white. It's the green ball behind the red. Human contact, yes, I meant that. Kendall's is shut, yes. Those among us viewers who have the thumbs down within 10 minutes. Oh, who amongst us viewers has given the thumbs down within 10 minutes? 10 minutes! 10 minutes! It's like, somebody, I mean, there are people who do not like me. It's just a fact. And you get used to it. In the end, you get thick-skinned. You know, there are people who just do not like me. But instead of just not liking me and going, oh, I don't like that Vobes very much, and then moving on and finding something they do like, there's like, I don't like that Vobes, so I will watch him every week and every day I'll put a thumbs down because I really don't like him. It's like, what? Okay, I don't care that you don't like me. That's fine. But why the... I'm just going to keep doing it. Beep, boop, 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 boop. It's not like that makes me go away. I'm still here. Thumbs down or not. It's madness. So if they want to do that, it's engagement, you see. And YouTube actually, the people who give the thumbs down think they're being very clever, but actually YouTube, they're even cleverer. And they've just said, no, it's engagement. It means people are engaging with you. So the fact that they've bothered to put the thumbs down actually shows that they are interested, because they're interested enough to press a button on the screen, which is engagement. And that's great. And it means that you go up the tiers. Instead of completely disappearing, you actually go up. So, do the thumbs down. I don't give a monkeys. You can't beat being able to feel items in the flesh in a store. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. I was only walking through Soho the other day, and this scantily dressed woman said to me, "Oh, come inside and feel the produce." And you're quite right. You cannot beat to feel the items in the flesh in store. I'm not sure that's what you meant. David Keel, hello to you. Lovely to see you. I have to return to things online stores as their photos are always... I have returned things to online stores because their photos are always exaggerated, not the quality you expect. Amazon reviews aren't reliable. Who reads the Amazon reviews these days? Who actually thinks that is a sensible way of appreciating? I mean, it's a shame, but we all know that the people whose products it is, they just go, look, I'm going to put this rather lovely Bald Explorer mug on Amazon. Now, I'm going to get 20 of my friends just to say, oh, it's the best mug that ever lived. Did you know it's made out of the first-class perfect porcelain you will ever see? The clay has been dug up under the Queen's throne, where, of course, there would be the best porcelain clay in the world. The Queen isn't going to put her throne at any old where. No. So, of course, it's the best, and it's made, everyone is handmade by midgets pushed under the ground under a sledgehammer, and they work for almost nothing. Apparently. So yes, I think the reviews do exaggerate somewhat and lie rather a lot. Smaller units, I think, in Bentl's building. Is that true? Says Linda Kane. Judith says, I think department stores have had their day. There we are. Sorry, love, you've had your day. What? Whatever? What? Who says? Judith says you've had your day. So off with you. Go on, off. We don't want you. Oh, but Judith, how could you do it? What am I going to do? Well, you must departmental but you must, yes, put your dentures in. Jackie Traynor says, when you buy online, what you receive is nothing like what you saw online. Well, usually, I mean, it's funny because I did buy some stuff online and they were a tiny little thing online, but when it came, it was in a package this big. Yeah, so you're quite right. Nothing like it. Alan, in fact. Alan Sandell, hello to you. Used to enjoy pottering around the bargains in the supermarket. Can't do it now. No, because there's a bloody one-way system, isn't it? Do you know you go in these shops that have got these one-way systems and you go, I've never been in this shop before. Oh, I'm being ushered along this. Yes, all right, I'm going. And then you go, wait a minute. What I wanted was just, oh no, you've got to go round this way. You've got to pay. Then you've got to go back in again. And you go, oh yes, now what was it again? Oh yes, tin tax. Now I've got to get me tin tax. Oh, damn, I've just passed them. No, you can't go back. Can't go back. No, go all the way round. It's a one-way system, see, because COVID can't go the opposite way. COVID's clever, but not that clever. COVID only goes one direction, so you have to go one direction. If you go back, COVID will be there waiting for you. You see, one way. Yes, it's these one-way systems are a bit of a nightmare. Ernie, I must get some new glasses because these clearly don't work, or a second eye, that would be good. Elaine Whitelock says, I agree with Mike. Good for you. I often agree with Mike. He speaks sensible stuff. No idea what you're agreeing him with, but he often speaks sensible stuff, and that's just the way it is. Robert Croser says, charity and coffee shops are still in the high street now. Good for them. At least somebody's succeeding in the high street, which is marvellous. Hang on, I've lost my space now. I'm going to have another slurp of this. That's delicious. We need to play some videos. We've got some videos. We will play some videos. And we'll turn the phone line on in a minute, so don't panic. Let's just run through some of the comments here. Several up here. Turkish barbers. Wait a minute. Not terrible jokes, only mediocre. Oh, thank you very thank you very much. I trade on those mediocre jokes. They are my... what is it? My thing in trade, my something in trade. It's all mostly it's all traded in. I get the jokes actually off the back of an old dormitory in Benidorm. Yes, one of those buildings at White Sands in Benidorm that never got made, that my father spent a lot of money thinking there was going to be this amazing caravan park. And he spent a lot of money because they sent him the brochures and he said, yes, we'll have the caravan in Benidorm. It'll be fantastic, kids. And he invested, I don't know what it was, £20,000 or whatever. Or their equivalent, make a number, doesn't really matter, XXX, whoever. And then he said, oh yes, I'm going to go and visit the place. We've got the caravan on there. It's going to be fantastic. And he turned up. There was nothing there. He turned up. He sent pictures. They'd pitched out roughly where the plots were going to be, and there were these tiny little whitewashed walls. Are you allowed to say whitewashed walls? Walls with some paint of nondescript colour. I think we mentioned that the other day. And there he was looking at this called White Sands. I don't think there was any sand whatsoever. I don't think that had been shipped in yet. And it was just a building site, but nobody working. It was just empty. And we've got pictures. He sent these pictures back, or when he came back, he had these pictures, and he was distraught. Poor man. Distraught. Got him in the end. Dead now, you see. Must have. What else have we got there? Carlisle has 4 Costas and counting. B&M also. I don't know what B&M stands for. I always watch in black and white. Good for you, Days of Yore. I'm very pleased about that. Stop being impersonal, Richard. Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm very impersonal. I hate to actually fraternise with the viewers. I just like to be a bit standoffish. You'll find that I am actually quite standoffish. In fact, I'm going to stand off now. I'm going to stand right off over here. But not for long, because obviously you'd all go and do something else. Robert Croser says, yes, Rick, good for you. And Daisy yours says, some Amazon reviews and many YouTube comments are hilarious. I know that there was a spate, wasn't there? I don't know whether they still do that, where the YouTubers would just sit and read reviews. And they got millions of people watching. Bit old-fashioned now, don't you think? It's a bit sort of last decade. Robert Crowson, yes, Mike. Okay, a lot of that. Andrew Norris says, Richard, I can't find the reading of parts 6, 7 and 8 of the Sussex Peep Show. Have you posted these on the channel? Yes, they're all there. They're all there, mate. I'll have to hang on a minute. I'm going to write this down on a bit of paper. Have we got a bit of paper? Yes, we have got a bit of paper, actually. I'm going to write this down. I will email you with the links. Let me just write that down. Andrew Norris needs the links. Not because he's playing golf by the sea, but he needs the links. And in fact, I will put that down on the floor by the door. So as I walk out, I go, what's this old bit of paper doing down? Oh, yes, must email him the links. Definitely there. At least they better be. What else have we got there? We got Audrey Forbes says stock in trade. Thank you very much. Yes, I've got my stockings in the trade. And Glyn Horton. Hello, Glyn. The High Street now seems to be full of vape shops. Yes. How are they making lots of money? I don't understand that at all. Mike Stevens says decent joke and puzzle shop too. Oh, good. And Annie also says, Alan says, developer probably hadn't thought about the planning permission. Okay. Nail bars everywhere, says Judith. Yes, nail bars. It's funny, you want to put up a shelf and you need some nails. Wrong kind of bar. Definitely. The Allotment Channel, Sean James Cameron says, hello all. Hello, Sean James Cameron from the Allotment thing. And Andrew Graham says, no fishmongers in Worcester. No, do try and find a greengrocer. It seems rare to find a greengrocer, certainly in Worthing now. Rick M says, B&M, bargain madness stores, large change of discount shops up here. Never heard of them, have to say. And we're lucky to have 2 greengrocers, 3 butchers and a fishmonger's, says Judith. We're all coming down to live where you are, in Kent. Merritt Genealogy, Ola, everybody. Ola to you. Ola. Is there a fishmonger on the beach? Well, there is fish catchers, fishermen, isn't there? There's on the beach. If you catch them, if you can catch the fisherman at the right time. It's a bit strange, isn't it? You don't need a net. She doesn't need to go down there with you. You just walk along at the appropriate moment, and there he is by a big blue box. That's all you need. So there we are. B&M is a bit like Woolworths, says Robert Croser, in capital letters. All right, no need to shout. And Michael White says, if you want to find a bar open with no restrictions, try Parliament. Yes, there we are. Whew. Right, let's go into the old video box and see what's happening down there, shall we? Lots going on in the old video box tonight. Let's start with a moment of Murphy. A bit of mirth is what we want, because young Murph has got his mum with him today.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another Moment of Murphy with me, Andrew Murphy. Today it is Sunday, the 11th of October 2020, and I've brought my mum. Hello. And we've come up to the Trundle in West Sussex, just for a little Sunday afternoon stroll around the top. Also, I'm going to test out this, my new monopod. Let's go. Everyone, we've now made it up to the trick point. Let's see what number it is. everyone, I've now got my monopod out. Let's put my other camera on and let's see what the view is like up close with my other camera. Let's find out. Right everyone, I hope you've enjoyed our little stroll up along the Trundle. We would just like to thank you for your company, and until next time, bye for now. Bye.
There you go. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Fantastic, fan-bloody-tastic. Wonderful views as, who said that? Julia and Judith. Yes, absolutely, couldn't agree more. And the monopod, fantastic piece of kit. I must get one. I haven't got a monopod, actually. Andrew Norris, I've just emailed you a few links. Hopefully they're the ones you want. I haven't had a chance to label them, but whilst Andy Murphy was doing his wonderful Andy Murphy stuff, I whizzed into the other room and sent some over. So let me know if you've got them. No idea. And thanks to Nigel Sadler for letting me know that number 5 is labelled number 4. Let's go back in there and edit that. So, yes, they're all there. They should be there anyway. Nigel Sadler says, wow, that was impressive. Yes, it was very impressive. Very nice stuff. So thank you very much for that, Andy. I always like and look forward to our moment of Murphy on the show. So let us come out of there for a moment. We've got some more emails for you, but not emails, videos. I don't know what I'm talking about. But if anybody wants to call up the Vobie on the Friday, the 16th of October, the telephone number is, as ever, 0793 4746 790. You can give us a call now, or you can be quiet and wait for somebody else to do it. There's always a sweepstake on who's going to be the first caller of the evening to have a discussion. We're talking about department stores. Are they done and dusted? Have you a view on that? If you have, give us a call, be interested. Are you somebody that trusts reviews? Have you done reviews? There are people that do those reviews for a living, don't they? Or that they review a product. I have been approached. It's funny how if you have a YouTube channel, after a certain amount of time, you start getting these promoters come over and say, here, would you like to try our trainers? They're nice trainers. Sorry if it's a bit loud tonight. I'll just turn in the volume down. Might be peaking a bit. You'd like to try our trainers? Because you do a walking channel, don't you? Why don't you try our trainers and then give us a review? And I looked into this when somebody did just that, and they sent over these trainers. They were the most hideous things I've ever seen. I thought, no, I'm not going to go and try them. They're horrible. And they said, if you like them, you can keep them. And I worked out, how much are they? They were about £45. I said, what? So in other words, you're going to get me to do an advert for your trainers, which will be on the internet forever and a day, for 45 quid? You gotta be joking, haven't you? You're talking to the wrong person here. No, thank you, is what I said. No, no. I mean, even if it was a brand that I knew and liked and loved, and they were asking me to do it, I think they've got to give you sensible money for it, because otherwise, even though you can say, this is a paid-for promotion, basically it's not. Well, it is. It obviously is, but it's just an advert. You may as well sort of suddenly just... Hi there, I've got some trainers. They're great, they're good, and running free. La 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 la. Hello, and now back to the programme. But are you somebody who's ever tried that? Have you ever been approached? Have you ever rung the Vobes show? Somebody here is ringing the Vobes show. Let's shove on the old headphonies and find out who it is. Oh, that's why it was peaking, because I was doing the wrong number. Hello to you, caller, calling in on the Vobie Showbie.
Evening all. Sorry to spoil the sweepstakes.
Oh, it's lovely. It's lovely. Good old Gabriel from Glastonbury. Hello, Gabriel from Glastonbury.
I was going to be a good boy and be ever so quiet tonight and other people get on the phone, but as nobody's rung up and you've covered a few things that I've got comments on, I thought I would join in.
Do you know what? We love to hear from you. Never think. How many times have you saved the show by calling in?
Oh,
yeah, loads.
Once when I got you to corpse on that was great. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I remember I can't remember why we were corpsing.
Oh, it's all about time on your cock and.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes,
one,
there you go. Yes, because it had to be something based, didn't it? But anyway, never mind.
Of course it did. Yes, of course it did. Well, I'll start with the most recent.
Yes.
You're talking about. When you get on YouTube, you get things. Yeah, I've been getting these offers, but you know what the cheeky buggers want? They want you to buy it now.
Oh, do they?
Review
oh, yes,
it,
yes.
Give a good review, and then they'll give you a refund after you've reviewed it. I just tell them to go and shove it where the sun doesn't shine.
I know. I've had exactly that myself. When they say, "Oh yeah," and you go, "Okay, well maybe let me try look at the product," and then as you say, "Well, if you buy it," and you go, "Well, I don't want to buy it. I don't want to buy it. I never wanted to buy it in the first place, but I'll have a look at it, feel it, try it out, and think, okay, I could incorporate that in a video, maybe."
Exactly.
But until you've got it,
sorry.
No, I was just saying, until you've got it, you can't value it. As everybody said, when
Exactly.
it's on the screen, it's just like, well, yeah, okay, might be good, might not be good. But then you feel duty bound to do this. Otherwise, if you don't do it, you don't get the money back that they say they're going to give you.
Exactly, because inherent in that entire concept is the fact that you've got to give them a good review to get your money back.
Yeah.
So I actually now just report them to Amazon, because Amazon are starting to clamp down on that. So I've started reporting to Amazon every time I get one now.
Oh, good idea. Yeah, I haven't had any for a while. There was a spate when I got up to about 5,000 subscribers on the Bald Explorer. I had a flurry of them, and I thought, oh, I'm being noticed, but by the wrong people. And I didn't do them. I didn't. Now, if Harris Tweed, for example, came to me and said, "Richard, we've been watching your videos, and in the colder months,
we noticed you look rather dapper.
You look rather dapper in that lovely Harris Tweed jacket that you've got, which of course, as yet, I haven't worn because we've had it's whatever. But it's getting on to Harris Tweed time." And now if they came on, they said, yeah, well, we've got some waistcoats, we've got some trousers, got some other jackets, some ties, and this, that, and the other. I'll be going, oh, yeah, okay. I'm more than happy to give that a whirl, because I know the product, I like the product, and it's not for everybody. It's not all of it. The colours aren't necessary for the Bald Explorer, but I know it's large, good quality, it's long-lasting, and what have you. And I'd be happy to say, okay, in this show, I'm wearing a thing from Harris Tweed, and they gave it to me to wear, and I may have to give it back or whatever, but they're paying me, or whatever it is. But it has to be something that fits the brand, and
absolutely.
And is integral to you, and you feel absolutely good about wearing it or showing it or having it in the thing. And I think viewers would be put off if you just suddenly have any old tat that comes in and go, I'm wearing these running shoes today, and they go, but that's not you, is it?
Do you know what? I was just while you were talking there about Tweed, I just had this amazing vision. The Bald Explorer's new look could be you trousering around in a pair of Tweed +4s. I think that would look excellent.
Plus fours. I love plus fours. I have actually worn plus fours. Only
I do. I think they're great.
in theatrical because you know, where can you buy them?
Exactly. On Amazon. Fun.
Can you still buy them? But are they? You see, that this is the thing. You can sometimes buy these things, and then when they come, they're in some thin, nasty material that doesn't actually hold its weight. It doesn't look like it should do. It's sort of imitation. It's not the real thing. And often, do you ever? I mean, you go to charity shops, and I go to charity shops, and I love them. Yeah. You know, you go in there and you get a jacket or a pair of trousers. Now, I had these pair of shorts that people would comment on because they weren't shorts in the way that most shorts are short, but they weren't right.
But they didn't quite make the mark as longs.
Yes, but they didn't quite make as long. But they were tailored. They were tailored, and they went down to the bottom of my legs. I'm sorry, they adhered to my legs, and I thought they looked really nice on me in the hot weather. Could I find a pair to buy new that I could have to replace them because they started to get a bit because they were second-hand to begin with? No, I couldn't, and I was like looking everywhere, and I bought some others, and no, they were just like cheap, nasty stuff. And that's sometimes you find a gem in a charity shop, but it is a one-off.
Yeah, it certainly is. Because most of the good stuff gets swiped off to online sales now.
Oh, yeah, that's the snag, isn't it? Yeah, because people can just bung them on Facebook Marketplace or something like that instead of putting them... And if you don't see it, you don't see it. Whereas, you know, a charity shop is great. But you can't try anything on in the charity shop at the moment.
No, they've stopped that.
Which is a shame.
Mind you, if you notice, there's not much to try on because a lot of them are not taking in, because of the COVID thing again, they're not taking the stuff in. So when I work over at Halfords every Saturday, I go for a walk around the charity shops in Wales because it's a nice place to walk around.
Mm.
And, I think I could probably miss 2 or 3 weeks and things wouldn't change that much.
That's a shame and surprising because we're told that millions of people are dying left, right and centre from this dreaded disease. And you'd think that, you know, there would be a lot of clothes that were now available that used to dress the corpse that no longer does dress that corpse. And they would be in the charity shops. But no, they're probably on Facebook marketing group. And the mention of the corpse and the COVID business is not even there.
But then we'd all have to start dressing like old people because it's the old people that are dying. So we'd all have to, trousers with great big deep gussets in them. And
yeah, well, I always dress like that anyway, so it doesn't affect me. Yeah,
I do, but not in public.
Comfort.
Another point you mentioned. Well, somebody actually mentioned about the bar at the House of Commons.
Oh yes.
They've stopped serving alcohol in there today. They've closed it.
Have they? Good for them.
It was on the news today. Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Can they bring their own, though? Can they bring their own?
I don't know. Can you imagine walking in with a firkin under there?
Well, they might go in with a flask, like little brandy.
I'm sure
flask.
Most of them do that anyway, don't they?
I mean, they're all loaded anyway. They're loaded probably with all that stuff. I mean, most of them, that is the tipple that goes in they may have given up sugar, but they may be putting brandy in their coffee instead.
Yeah.
Anyway,
probably. So... I mean, they've all got little gophers in there to do things for them, haven't they?
Haven't
they? Go for this and
yeah.
go for that.
I've got to go for... All right, Eric?
All right. Yeah. Hello, Eric.
He's not talking.
So
go on.
The shops.
Yes.
The shops.
Yes.
I think a lot of it is supply and demand. I mean, let's not talk about COVID. Let's go back to before COVID.
Yep.
Because the high street was in decline way before that was even thought of.
It's true.
And what people are doing, they're going into the shops to look at the goods, and then they're going away and ordering the goods online.
Yeah, because then
a lot of it is cost.
Yes.
And convenience. So you haven't got to load this dirty, great washing machine into your fridge. You just sit at home and a man comes and drops it in your kitchen for you. So there's that convenience factor. I think there's a trend in shopping now to become it's moving from a chore to a social activity, which is why you see the rise in coffee shops and these sorts of places, because people are going there to meet each other, to chill out, then maybe going and buying a pair of shoes from some Ponzi label shop, but they're not doing like the weekly shop. Like when I was a kid, we used to go out and do the weekly shop every Saturday. It's a social event now, so people aren't buying as much as they used to. And I think also councils have got a lot to be blamed for on this, because they set these huge rates on these high streets because they're premier sites. And of course, that then means the prices in the shops have to go up to cover all these costs of the rent and all of that sort of thing, which then in turn means that the prices are going up. So people are going, well, it's cheaper offline. So,
Yes.
you know, if they could break the cycle and like slash business rates and make it more economical for these shops to be open, then maybe, you know, the running costs would be so high, the cost of the items would be lower, blah, 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 blah. Just
Yes.
a thought.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, that one of the problems of mass production of the same product, you know, billions and millions of the same thing that you can buy in a shop or online, is that it is a uniform product that people go. But when something is like, well, I was going to make a point, and of course I suddenly thought of Ipsy or Epsy or whatever it's called, where you hand make something. If you've got a shop and that's the only place you can get it, then that's the only place you can get it. But of course, I suppose the proprietors of shops like that can just stick them now on an Epsy, whatever it's called, store, and so people still buy it online, whether they're handmade or mass produced. So just ignore my argument. It was ill thought out, and I've just dismissed it into the gloom doom of hell bins.
The thing is, though, when you talk about Etsy, you've got people like Fran from Floating Their Boat on there making lovely stuff. That is the quality stuff, and the people who would probably sell that aren't going to be in the high street with your New Looks and your Burtons and all these other names. They're going to be in the side streets where it's cheaper anyway. But I think it's the big names that tend to draw the people in, and then they shop in the smaller secondary shops. However, having said that, when you do get towns where you haven't got that preponderance of like high street names, then the town has a sort of a more quirky feel to it. It's more independently. Well,
Glastonbury.
I think that has a feeling of its own right, which is a better thing.
So that's what we need then. We need more Glastonburys where every town, not...
I wouldn't say that.
No. No. Wait.
Maybe more Frooms.
No. Wait. Because you can buy all that tat in Glastonbury online. I'm sure you can get a prism or a crystal ball we were talking about earlier. You can probably get all that tat on all that very mystical stuff online. But the fact that it's all in one town makes people want to go there. Now, if each town had a different theme, so one town might be all about shoes. So you get lots of independent shoe people making lots of independent shoes, and whoops a days, I'm breaking the studio again. And then another one is all about jackets or golf clubs or whatever. So you go, oh, I'm going to go to so and so because that town is all about that, and you wander around the shops and do that sort of thing, so that towns have a reason again to be there.
I love the idea, but. If I'm in Somerset and my nearest +4 shop is in Cumbernauld, then I've got a bit of a distance to go. That's the only downside. But I like the idea. When you've got places like Hale and Wine, there are other places that are kind of known for what they sell.
Yes. I mean, in the old days, that was it, wasn't it? The old days, that was very much it. Certain places were known for silk. Other places were known for gloves. Other places were known for their shoes. And okay, so you had distribution from those, but they were all sort of, that was where it was made. The potteries, they were famous for something. I can't remember what the potteries did now.
When you and I were in Cornwall, all that money from the wool we saw in those buildings.
Yeah.
That was all wool money in Cornwall, wasn't it?
Yeah, there you go, exactly. But anyway, I don't know what the situation is. Everything will go online and everything will be electronic, and we won't have cash anymore, and everybody will be able to trace us wherever we go, and our lives will not be worth living, apart from obviously watching the Vobes show and listening to when Gabriel rings in, and everyone will be going, "Whoa, lovely."
There was something else, but I've forgotten what it was. What was the first thing you talked about when you came on air?
It's all about hello, I'm Richard Vobes. It's the Vobes show. It's a Friday. It's the 16th of October. And after that, I can't really remember.
No.
Neither can anybody else.
I had something to comment on the first one, but whatever it was, it's now gone, so I'm going to clear off.
All right, matey. Well, we've got the third part of your wonderful thing about the scissor arches.
Yes, that's the trademark. That's the trademark of that.
Yeah, I love that. The scissor arches. And not only could you get Liver Archie in there, but you could have the Scissor Sisters as well.
You could. I like them, the Scissor Sisters.
I don't really know who they are, but I know people have spoken about them.
Okay.
I get all my information third hand off the back of a crisp packet, so it's useful. Anyway, lovely to talk to you. Thank you for calling in.
Andrew, good sir. Good night, and good night, everybody who's listening.
Good night. Take care. Bye-bye. So there we go. That was Glastonbury Gabriel giving us the insight onto shops and where things have gone online. You've been commenting like hot fish in a tropical island. And Days of Yours says Elton rifles. Yes, you've got to get your Elton rifles. Is that so you can shoot the John? Or even a ferret? Yes, why not? I don't know what they're talking about. I had a lovely jubbly I haven't had a lovely jubbly in years. I wonder how many bars are closed in the MP's private clubs. That's a good question, says Michael White. Microphone sibilance, says Days of Yours. Is that am I popping? Is that what you mean? Preponderance. What a great word. Yes, it's a lovely word. And what amazing that you've spelt it, I assume correctly. So Mike Stevens says, is that why so many shops go out of business? Because of business rates. Business rates are set by the central government, which sets the multiplier, a pence in the pound value, which is then applied to the rateable value. It always seems strange when you had all these businesses that are going to the wall and the business rates are still trying to charge, and you think, well, if they were a bit more friendly, surely that would be good. Deborah Martin says, I have Tweed Plus 4s. Oh, fantastic. Well done to you. I want a pair. Nigel Sadler says, looking for a dapper YouTuber, we can offer a choice in the Vobosphere. I bet we can. And Edward Moulding says it's so-called influence marking. The influencer asking for things for free. Yes, I don't ask. I don't know. I mean, I do rinse the audience for cash from time to time, as it's been claimed. Such a lovely, gentle term. Such a lovely way of expressing the fact that I occasionally ask for a few pennies to help me on my way. But rinsing the public is far, far better and more accurate description of what I do. Micturition time. Micturition. I don't know what that means, Days of Yours. 2 sugars for me, Jackie. Cocoa, please. Put the kettle on. What's that? Somebody's talking about that. George Gale, made to measure, tweed at Fareham. Oh, George Gale, made to measure. How lovely. And Mike Stevens says, in theory, you could take things into a charity shop and just quarantine it for 3 days and then well, presumably anything that you've got, you could put it into a bag, put it into the charity shop, and then you could buy it back, couldn't you? I don't know. No, I don't know why I was thinking that. Anyway, so there we go. That's that. English mustard makes my nose tickle, says Connor's Dark Corner. Scissors arches are a cut above the rest, says Days of Yore, whose jokes, I have to say, are a cut above mine. And Michael White says they should scrap the council tax for this year. They certainly could. Wouldn't that be a lovely gesture if they were to do that? If up and down the country, if Boris, with his we're going to close everything down and shut you down and ruin the country mode, which is such a weird mode. It's almost like we haven't got Boris. It's almost like Boris had COVID and then they went, Boris is dead. What do you mean Boris is dead? No, Boris is dead. Quick, hunt the countryside. A bit like, who was it in the war? I was Rommel's double. Do you remember that film in the war? I was Rommel's double. And Rommel, the famous desert commander, what was his first name? George Rommel? That doesn't sound right. Brian Rommel? No, definitely not. Richard Rommel. That's a good name, but it wasn't him. Anyway, was it Rommel? Might not have even been Rommel. It's a funny old name, isn't it? Rommel, when you say it a few times, starts to sound a bit stupid. Rommel? What does that mean? I was Rommel's double, I'm sure, was a film. Anyway, got this bloke who happened to do a Rommel lookalike thing, and they got him, and he went out, and the Germans thought it was Rommel, and they were trying to kill him, but it wasn't Rommel at all. The end, Rommel was safely sat at home with a thermometer in his mouth, with his feet in slippers. And that's probably what happened to Boris, isn't it? Let's be fair, Boris is a bit different these days. He's not that sort of clown that we used to know, where what, not. It doesn't do that anymore. And I think what happened is on the vent. He was on the vent, not the that's the way to do it, not that kind of vent. He was on, and it went beep, and they were going, "Oh my God, what we're going to do? We can't say that Boris is snuffed it. He's gone up. We'll get a replacement." They probably got, Spitting Image is supposed to be back. I see it on YouTube. Maybe they just got a Spitting Image puppet and shoved it in, and they're still trying to work out the right script. They've got a rather dour scriptwriter at the moment for Boris, haven't they? It's like, oh yes, we'll just shut up everything and all the rest of it. It's like, yeah, he's a bit. We're making more serious. It's almost like the $6 million Boris, isn't it? Da-na-na-na, da-na. We can make him worse than he was before. Worse, inferior, more serious. All those things. We'll give him a bionic nonsense. I haven't thought this through, of course, but it's like it's not him. Field Marshal Montgomery. I was Montgomery's double. That's what it was. Not Rommel. Rommel was on the other side, wasn't he? Wasn't Rommel? He was the German. Montgomery. I was Monty's double. That's the name of the film. Fantastic film. I love it. I was just going to go and see if I could find it, but then I'll probably get a YouTube. What's the name? I was Rommel's double. Hang on a minute. We will show another video in a second. I was Monty's double. Such a great film. Let's see if we can. Helps if you turn the keyboard on, of course. I was Monty's double. Who's seen that? Nice black and white film. Although the posters are all in colour. I was... There we go. Look. Here's a snippet. There he is. And it was actually... They got the guy who played him was... in the film, was actually the guy who did it in the war. We've got John Mills there, by the looks of things. Lovely John Mills. He was fantastic. Here's an excerpt from Monty's Double by Umbrella Entertainment, look. Well, anyway, he's just eyeing up the women. That's not what I... Anyway, it's a good film. Go and check it out on YouTube. We haven't got time for all that nonsense. Besides which, we've got to go into the video box. Hang on, I just want to turn the fading down on that. We've got to go to the video box. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what we're going to have a look at tonight. I think it's a time for... we've done a bit of Murphy. Let's find out what Adrian... Ah, yes, Adrian Turbo stream. Now, this is interesting. Turbo stream. We showed some pictures. He showed us a video the other day, and he went to a tower. I can't remember the name of the tower, quite a local tower. And I said, that's a lovely picture. Lovely picture. And he said, yes, I do like my stills. And I said, yeah, that you're very good at the stills. So tonight he's given us 10 of his favourite stills for us to... I think there's 10 of them. Of his favourite stills. Stop. Bing. And the question is, which one do you like the best? And then he's going to tell us which one he likes the best. And fortunately, he's put it to music. So here we are. This is Adrian Turbo with some of his mesmerising stills. Isn't that nice? Fantastic. Well done. Love to see those photos. If you are somebody who takes photographs, why not to put them together in a little video like that we can play in? It would be superb on the Vobes show. And maybe we can have a little quiz and see which one is everyone's favourite. So has anyone got a favourite there? If you'd like to comment on it, you'd be very welcome to give us a tinkle. Of course, on the old Vobes phone, which is 07934746790. Give us a little tinkle. Or talk about anything else. Old films that you like. I Was Monty's Double was that, sponsored by Movie Tone, as Nigel Sadler has made clear. Andrew Norris says, Sunlight Streaming Through the Trees, third one, was my favourite, but all really great. The Broadway Tower was also brilliant. Ernie liked the first one, which was The Two Trees, as I remember. Well done, Adrian. Who needs Ken Burns when you have some great photos? And yeah, who needs Ken Burns? Last one, says Carrie. Ron liked the first one. Great photos, says Judith. I can't pick a favourite, she says. Turbo Strange says, I'm a better stills photographer than a video maker. Two completely different disciplines. I think people often think that they are one and the same, but they are two very, video is about the unfolding of a story, and photography is about that moment in time that you look at, that frozen moment. Or it doesn't necessarily be frozen, but it is that moment that can create. I think photography can be like pictures, like paintings and what have you, can be incredibly evocative, whereas the video is about movement. Even though you have a still frame of something for a while, it's about moments, and it's like music. Video is, it's like different tempos, fast, slow, and all the rest of it. It's movement. I don't think people often appreciate. Obviously, different. I mean, even in a show like this, not necessarily visually, but it's you can get really excited about something and talk very fast about it and get people really empowered with it, and go, God, blimey, and get really angry, like sometimes I do on the Vobes show when I'm talking about things that really annoy me or excite me, like the things like COVID or something, and you get stressed out, you get carried away, and people are going, oh my God. And other times when it's just a little bit slower. Pace is what video is. It's about pace, moments when you can slow down and take things a little easier and draw people in to those little quiet times. That's what it should be anyway, I think, and my opinion is nothing, so don't even listen to it. Jackie Trainer says, can't choose, they're all fab. Excellent images, says Glastonbury Gabriel. Damo says, splendiferous, Adrian. The snow scene was my favourite. Darren Howell says, number 3 was his. Sun rays through the trees. All good stuff. And love the sunset, me too. Glastonbury says, the Ansel Adams, whatever that means. And Linda Kane says, love 3, but difficult choice, all superb. If you are a budding photographer, or even if you're not, if you've got a favourite picture, why not? If you can put it to a video, that would be great. I have been taking photographs since 1959, no idea about video. Yeah, they're just so two different things, really. I mean, I know these days you can get cameras that look like they're stills cameras and they do video. And for a while, let me tell you this, for a while, I mean, the camera I'm filming on tonight is what looks like a video camera. It is a video camera. It's a it's a professional video camera. It was about $4,000, I think, when I bought it. And it's out of date now. That's why it's just doing the live streaming. It does a good job of that. But I used to do my corporate stuff with it, and up until the end of last year I used it, but it's sort of now, just on the edge because the new cameras are so much better. But it's a professional video camera, and what makes it purely video is it doesn't take pictures, although it will give you a still grab if you need it, because sometimes you need to refer back to a still for continuity purposes or things like that. But basically, everything is pretty much manual, though you can go to auto. And all the buttons, instead of having to go through a menu set on the camera and go, oh, I want to do this, mostly all the buttons are on the outside. It's just got everything's on the outside, the dials and knobs and buttons, and it's so much easier. It's like it's a pro camera, and what makes it great. However, you now get SLRs, DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, whatever you want to call them. And they look like cameras that you take pictures with. But some of them are now more towards making video than the pictures. They still take great pictures, but they're more designed to video. And many of them are principally photos first with a video option. And it gets very confusing in that field. I'm looking at buying a new camera for the Board Explorer stuff, one that has inbuilt stabilization. I've got a fantastic camera at the moment. It's a lovely camera, but it's pretty much a tripod camera. It's a little bit heavy to do vlogging with, so I want something. I don't want to use the GoPro. I've got annoyed with that. They all look naff now. The colours are not good in low light. Get away with it, but I want something a little bit more professional, and something with greater, not so much depth of field, although depth of field is lovely. But what's the word I'm looking for? The 13 steps of... I can't think off the top of my head. It'll come to me in a minute. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. And so cameras are, you look at the stills camera, it looks like a stills camera, but two different disciplines. John F. says, oh yes, I've read that. This Happy Breed is one of my all-time favourite films, David Lean. David Lean, good film director. Cameras go out of date so soon these days. Well, they get updated so soon, don't they? They're trying to just keep you to buy stuff. I mean, there's a point where you reach, and there's so many cameras now. There's just so many that you come out and you go, what job does that do that this one doesn't? By the same brand. Canon will come out with a whole range. Sony will come out with a whole range. They all come out with a whole range. And you go, yep, they're all at different price points. And then you start looking at the quality of the video, which is what I'm interested in, and you think, yeah, okay, so they all look pretty much the same. A lot depends on the lens you put on it, but even so, they all look pretty much the same. Most people are watching their stuff on things like this, which automatically makes everything look much better than it really is. Or you go from this to the big tellies, and then some people are on laptops, but I would hazard a guess that fewer people are watching on laptops, probably watching on tablets, sitting down with their feet up on a poof. So people are watching on different things, and some of these electronic stuff and some of the bigger, better televisions really just, they're clever. The electronics make your video look a lot better than back in the day when you had 620 lines or whatever it was, 640 lines, was it? In the old days. Anyway, Mike Stevens says, when I worked for Kodak, I was taught it was the photographer who made the picture. Yes, and I would imagine that is still true. It is true. Yes, you're quite right. I mean, the medium is just a tool, the camera and everything. I always think that, I'm a great fan of Laurel and Hardy. I quite like Buster Keaton for the stuff he did, for the fact that he did. I don't find him funny, but I find as a performer, he is a master of that craft and an incredible athlete and very inventive how he did stuff. And so I always think when you go back to those, Laurel and Hardy for me were terrific comedians, and they worked so well and their timing was brilliant. You didn't need really to do much, and they didn't do much with the camera work. Mostly it's pretty static. Occasionally you'd cut in for an effect or a close-up, but very rarely. Same with Buster Keaton. And it's what you do. So, and even though it's faded now and it's in black and white and you've got scratches of the film coming down, none of that matters really if the content is great. And it's the same thing that if you've got a phone, the qualities of the phones are so good. If your content is really good, you can make your film on that. As long as the audio, this is the thing people never think about, the audio has to be good. And your pictures, it doesn't matter. If the audio is good, the pictures doesn't matter. But from my point of view, as somebody who's worked with lots of different technologies in terms of camera works, although the GoPro is really handy because it's small and all the rest of it, there's functions in it which I just don't like. The auto stuff and trying to get to stuff. There's no depth of field. Everything's in focus. You're in focus, and everything else is in focus. The zoom, there isn't really a zoom, and it's very limiting in what it can do. And the thing that I'm trying to remember, which is the latitude, what I used to call latitude in the days of film, when I used to work with actual film, 16mm film or Super 8, but more with 16mm film, we used to call it latitude. But now they don't call it that now. They call it, begins with D, I can't remember what it's called, in which it's dynamic range. That's what it's called, dynamic range. The dynamic range, which I used to call latitude when I worked in film. And that is how you expose something so that you can have things in the shadow that you can see and things bright. If you don't have much dynamic range, and GoPros don't have much dynamic range, and most phones don't have much dynamic range, it means that you can have a bright thing in the picture, and if you expose for the bright thing, everything else is in silhouette. Or if you expose for the thing that's in silhouette, so you see him, everything else is burnt out. But if you have a certain amount of dynamic range, it means actually, or latitude, you can expose both and still see both and make them out. And I suppose it's like you can paint on copier paper or draw on copier paper, or you can draw on art paper. And there's just something, you know, you could, if the picture is great, it doesn't matter that it's on copier paper. But as an artist, you probably, you know, you may want, actually, for all that effort that I've drawn all of this, I want it on art paper or something more, or canvas, or whatever it might be. And so therefore the quality is something that you pine for. And I've just got to that point with my filmmaking with the GoPro. I don't know why I've got into all of this, but anyway, this is the fact where I am at the moment, is I don't want to be working on that sort of... I want something a bit better. Anyway, that's neither here. Harold Lloyd. I never liked Harold Lloyd. I found him too mechanical. If you work in 4K, you can see the difference. Yeah, I'm not really interested in 4K, funnily enough. I'd still like 1080. People rave about 4K, but I'm not so much worried about that aspect of it. Funny that, really. I've worked in 720p for donkey's years when people had moved to 1080, and I was going, well, I'm still happy with... My big documentaries were made in 720, but, you know, film it right and do the thing. It still looks good. It used to be stops of exposure on film. Yes, there you go. Stops for exposure. I mean, when we used to order rolls of film, and you'd get sort of like the Kodachrome, or not Kodachrome, Kodak, whatever it was. Mike will know now because he used to work for Kodak. You get the Kodak Ektachrome, I think it was called. Ektachrome rings a bell. And you get the 500 ASA. It's funny, people don't talk about ASA anymore. It's all ISOs, isn't it? But it's the same thing, sort of. I gather it's not really. It's that ISO on digital is more about gain, isn't it? So just turn the gain up, really. I think they call that ISO. But in the old days, ASA, I never knew what ASA stood for, but I always understood it. You know, you'd film 500 or 400 ASA if you were filming in lowish light, 500 ASA particularly in low light situations, or artificial light, particularly indoors, and you'd have 200 ASA or 100 ASA, 100 ASA for bright, sunny, you know, holiday stuff, which would give you a really sharp image, really sharp. 200, and of course 500 if you were filming in 200 in low light, it'd be a bit grainy. But 500 ASA, I don't know what they did with the chemicals, but it made it less grainy. Although the grain was part of the medium. So I'm sorry, I've got into conversations there. Full manual control is too big and bulky, says Nigel Sadler. Full auto control is too convenient. Finding a balance is difficult. Manual control would be my preference. Yes, manual control is always my preference. But in certain situations, with autofocus, and some of the autofocus being amazing, I was out today and I was filming principally on autofocus, but manually exposing. But only sometimes I would switch to the auto, because the auto would be very quick, and it would be right. And sometimes you switch it and you go, no, it doesn't look right, what have you. There's so many different things. Films Kodak made were made with wide latitude. Pro film more so, says Mike Stevens. Yeah, exactly. There we are. Wide latitude. See, we're talking the same language. Safety Last was made in 1923, nearly 100 years ago, says Kerry Baldwin. Oh, yeah, there you go. Hang on, I just want to catch up with... So we've got a couple more videos to go, so don't go away. Safety Last was a wonderful film. If you film in... Oh, yes, we got to 4K. I took the whole lens apart to clean each lens, as I can't afford to buy anything. So got to be frugal. Golly, you've got to be very patient and have good fingers to do that. 4K takes up much too much space. Yes, that's another thing. Somebody said to me... you know, with these 360 cameras that you can buy now, you never need to worry about the shot, because, you know, you just hold the camera any old where, it does a 360, and then in the edit you can, you know, frame it how you like, because it's captured everything. But I thought, yeah, but it's capturing everything. The file sizes are so big. I don't want that hassle. Because I'm turning stuff round so quickly, you don't want it. What else have we got here? Ernie says, Richard, after taking photographs since the early 80s, I have now a Leica M10R camera. The quality is far superior to those with so many gimmicks. People think it is boring looking thing. I'm sure it's not a boring looking thing, and I'm sure it takes brilliant pictures. There is a difference between photos and videos in cameras, and how the sensor works and all of that. So there's definitely certain cameras which are far better at stills, and you know, Sony is incredibly good on video, and I would always use Sony for the profession. That's my own personal choice, and there is a Sony camera out now. It's a bit top of the range. It's very expensive, really, for such a small thing, but I know it will be good, and I want one. They're not available yet in the UK. So E6 processing, says Days of Yours. Oh yes, I seem to remember. Negative film had more stops of exposure than transparency, says Turbo Stream. Yes, we shot everything in neg, and I edited the neg. Did I edit the neg? I edited the neg on A and B rolls years ago. Had a Steenbeck and everything. I have a few rolls of transparency film in my fridge, says Turbo Stream. Top man. Yes, the CC2 Ektachrome, American Standards Association. Ah, that's what it stood for. Kodachrome was always the best. I know some photographers who sent their slide film to Switzerland because the water was better. Kodachrome was great. Used to love that. It was a very rich, warm colour. I remember Fuji used to do a film, and it was always more green. There was more green in the Fuji films than the greens were too vibrant, really. And Kodachrome was very warm sort of colour, as I remember. Yeah, using the P setting, something about P. Agree, Ektachrome, blah, blah, blah. Barry says, took Connor's Dark Corner up to the Hownacker windmill and gun emplacements yesterday. We also processed Kodachrome in Wimbledon. I used to send it off to Hemel Hempstead, used to be the place, didn't it? I remember that. DIN, D-I-N, was the equivalent of that. Standards for Deutsche Institute for Normung. All right, there we are. Kodachrome 25 was nationally recognised as the best photographic film ever made back in the day. Kodachrome 25, I remember getting 100 feet spools of that little square box like this, in the yellow and red, and used to put that in my Canon Scopic. My Canon Scopic, which is somewhere buried in there, no longer works. I hadn't got rid of it, and it was fantastic. What a fantastic thing. We've got to show some videos. Processed the Wandle water. What? It's a bit late tonight. Used to work at Ilford in black and white, says Robert Baxter. How interesting. David Keel says that Fuji Velvia. I don't remember Velvia. Yes, Fuji as green. We saw Fuji as green too. Kodak was deliberately red, but only slightly to give a slightly warm hue. I loved the the colours of Kodak, and I guess most people did. I won a practical photography European photo competition using Fuji many years ago. Oh, how brilliant. And Steve O'Nions or something YouTube channel, he uses film in old cameras. Worth a look. Yeah, I would imagine that it is lovely using film, and I think I've been very privileged in my life to have that 1 foot in analog. You know, people of a certain age who understand film, I think, have a better grip on digital photography today. It may not be true. It may not be true at all, but that's an opinion that I think, having had that experience with film, you just add something to, certainly in terms of filmmaking. There are a lot of people who just switch the camera on and just snake it about. But I'm still, every time I switch the camera on, even though I can have pretty much unlimited data or change the cards very easily, I still have that feeling that as soon as, if I'm today, oh, hang on, we got a phone call. Let's find out who it is. Hello, caller to the Vobes show.
Hello, it's Richard. It's another Richard.
Hello, Richard.
Hello.
Hello.
It's Richard up in another one of your viewers in Cumbria.
Ah, up in Cumbria. You're giving Robert Croser a good old, what do they call it when you give somebody a run for their money?
Yeah, I'm just down the coast from the mouth of the Solway is up at the top end of the Solway, I think, by Rockcliffe, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
Thank you for ringing in.
Yeah, well, my wife says about time you give him a ring.
Ah, did she? Fantastic. Good. What's her name?
Yeah, Anis.
Anis.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Richard and Anis. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah, now I know who you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, Anis. Nice to have you nudging him to give us a call. So.
Hello, Richard.
Hello, Anis. How are you?
I'm great.
Oh.
Enjoying your show.
Oh, fantastic. So nice of you to persuade Richard to dial in and then nick the phone from him and talk to me. How lovely.
Yeah, well, I wanted to say hello. I'll pass you back now.
Oh, right. Okay. Fantastic. Oh, bless. How about that? Isn't that lovely?
No, we're just we're listening to when Gabriel rang before, and we were on about the demise of the high street and things. And one of the things that we miss in the local town is the hardware shops, with a couple of really nice hardware shops. You know, you could go and buy anything from a mousetrap to a gas fire.
Yes.
And tools and things like that. You know, and
surprising. We had for years, I think from 1920s or something, on the corner from where I am, a shop called Bunce's, and their shop burnt down a couple of times, or one time, or was rebuilt. The shop was rebuilt twice, as far as the plaque on the wall used to say, and it was a hardware shop, just as you described. You could go in and buy one nail if you wanted, or a tiny washer, or something like that, and the blokes that worked there, they knew, you could ask them any old question. They go, oh, just a minute, hang on a minute, I think we've got one of those. And they would rummage around, and it was of a different age, and you could just buy that. And it was so useful being so close to me. And
and if they didn't have it on the shelf, it was always under the counter.
Yeah, exactly.
They always rummaged under the counter. We realised how, the first time we got a computer, really when my daughter was, she was just in the junior school, and I had no interest in computers, and you felt you were going to be forced to buy one. Really.
Yes.
And it was as early as maybe the early 2000s, I think late 90s, and we realised the effect the internet was going to have on local shops then, and the local hardware shop was one of the first hits, because I went in to buy one of those electric screwdrivers.
Oh yeah.
And it was very reasonably priced, and the guy in the shop, he said, "Oh, we're going to have to be really competitive now, because people can buy these things from America and just go on the computer." Well, I'd never bought anything online back in the day. It was something that was fairly new to me, and within 2 or 3 years, that shop had closed. And the sad thing was, when he closed down, he had like a half-price closing down sale, and he was mobbed. And one of the lads I worked with, he went in and he said he was really gutted. He said, it's a pity all these people hadn't came in.
Yes.
before I closed, and it's I think it, like what Gabriel said before, I think the towns, they put the property rent up and they can't compete.
And it was madness because you'd go and buy your one washer or whatever it was, and it was like threepence. You could pay in pennies for something that you just had. The plug had broken in the bath. It snapped, and you just just nip round, and you nip round, and for 10p you had another plug. Whereas if you've got to buy that same plug online, not only you probably, there's a plug for $3.99 plus postage, it's probably cost you a £5.
Yeah.
Which was 10 or 20p, and you had done it. And it's and how they ever made a profit, I don't know, when they're selling those individual items. But amongst everything else, but then when you wanted something else, like a lawnmower or something, and they might have one or two in the background, you'd trust them because they would actually, you had a problem with it, they'd say, "Well, just bring it back in. We'll have a fiddle with it and repair it." But it's gone.
Yeah, and they didn't just specialise in one make either.
No.
They knew a good cross section. Or this part will fit. It's a similar manufacturer, and these parts will fit. And they had all those things going for them. But one of the other things I noticed as well when the shops closed, the fishing tackle shops and things like that, you would go in for an item, and sometimes to make it worth the while, the shop had to buy maybe a dozen, in batches of a dozen maybe, and if they didn't have it in, they say, "Oh, we'll order it." But back in the day, you would wait, it'll be here next week.
Yeah.
Now when they say we'll order it, people are saying, "Well, I can go back and order it myself, and it'll be here tomorrow."
Yeah, that's right, and that's the death knell hitting in there.
Yeah.
When I used to go in, I just remembered as you were talking. Often you'd go in and you'd buy something, whatever it was. And they used to, one or two of the guys you'd get to know very well, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's $6.99. Oh, trade, yeah, no problem." And they just used to give me a trade discount because I always went in. So which was great, and because it wasn't trade, I mean, it's just a domestic thing like a plug. Oh yeah, trade, no worries. There we are. Should be 10p. That's 8p.
They would round it up. They round the if it was £4.90, £5, and you only had £4.50 or something. Oh, that'll do. Give me it the next time or something.
Yeah,
little personal touches, but it's all quite cold-blooded now, isn't it? When it's so impersonal.
Yes, absolutely. That whole thing where you could just go in and they'd say, "Look, well, it says on here it's $5.20, but if you've got just give me the £5, that'll be fine."
Yeah,
if you did that in the supermarket and you go in and they say, "Yes, it's £5 and a penny," and you go, "Oh, I've only got £5," and they just sit there looking at you going,
"Yeah,
well, you can't have it until you've got that penny," and they don't have. The old sales assistants would just, even though it may not be their company, but they would have the authority to go, "Oh, doesn't matter, just give us a £5, that'll be fine." Better to have the custom than not have it.
I think so. I think it goes as far as the market. You have your market square and you bi-weekly or twice weekly or once weekly markets. I think some of the councils as well. Those things have become a thing of the past because some of the councils charge the market traders quite a lot for the pitches as well, and that puts a lot of people off as well. They go elsewhere or they pack in altogether.
Where's it all going to go, Richard? What's the end story? I mean, cash. Well, every time I go into the supermarket now, and I go onto the hand basket thing, self-service, not only have you got to do it all yourself, but now, more often than not, the cash machines aren't working and you're forced to pay with your credit card. And I can't help.
And you wonder how if that's the game. It's just as handy. You do see. I mean, one of the things we notice as well, if you go in the bank or in the supermarkets, like you say, it seems quite. It's a shame because the checkout assistants or the employees in the bank, they lead you go in to talk to somebody and they lead you towards a machine on the wall.
Yes.
Which is ultimately going to do them out of a job. They're showing you how to how to work a machine that's going to do out the job. I'll usually avoid using the self checkouts, but you find yourself being ushered towards them, and you think this is going to do you out of a job. But it's
I mean, I bet they know that. And what can
Yeah.
they do? They're employees. It's
That's
like,
right.
at the moment, my job is just to direct people to the machine. And
Yeah.
their authority has diminished. I mean, a kid could do that.
Yeah.
What do you want to pay a check in? Yeah, there's a machine there. What do you want to get a
Well,
loan? Talk to.
I think there's the security thing as well. You've got so much. I mean, you've got like elderly people or people who aren't computer literate being forced to use these things, and yourself, if you've got to have all kinds of like spyware, like stuff on your computer to guard against spyware and antivirus, and be careful with passwords. And you hear about all this online fraud, but people are being forced down that road where they can't. It just takes somebody to slip up with a password, and that's your bank got into.
Absolutely. I mean, now I'm with this COVID thing. Every time I go to pay with a card, it's like, oh yeah, just tap on the thing. You can tap on the thing. It's like, well, I haven't got the thing that you tap on it. I have to put it in and put a number in. Oh. Yeah. And they look at you as if you're out of date, even just with what is it called, swipe and pin or whatever they call it. And now you've got the tap and go or whatever they call it. And I don't have that on my card.
No.
And I don't want it, because if somebody picks up my card, they can get the 30 quid or whatever it is, and they can whiz round various shops. And all right, there might be a way of getting it back, but it's a hassle. I don't want the hassle. If they don't know my PIN, then that's one step away from getting the meagre amounts of cash that I have.
Yeah, well, one of the funny the things that makes me laugh as well is with this chip and pin and things like that. I tend to use cash quite a lot, and on the rare occasion, you do use the card to pay for something big, then you go and a couple of times it's happened to me because I haven't used the card for so long. I've went to buy something, the card's been blocked, and I've spent ages on the phone trying to, because it was my own use was classed as suspicious activity.
Yeah,
because I don't use it that much, and I thought, this is great. The one time I come to use it, you think it's suspicious activity.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm hoping to buy a van next week. And I know that I need to talk to the bank beforehand to say a substantial amount of money is going to go out of my account. I am actually doing this.
Yeah.
It's not a fraud. And so, because otherwise I'll be wherever this van is, and I'll be sitting there going, okay, let me just get on my laptop and send the money over to you. And then it'll go, oh no, this is an unusual. And in one hand, it is good that they are tracking you to a degree. But on another hand, it's like, yeah, but I don't want the hassle of having to keep telling you when I want to spend my own money.
Yeah. Is it next week you get your van?
It is.
Oh, excellent. We used to have a little, about 20 years ago, we had a little, it was a Renault Traffic, just a short wheelbase one.
Oh, yeah.
It was, the inside of it was new, but the van was about 3 or 4 years old when we bought it. And we had quite a few good years in that when our daughter was young. And I always find vans are quite nice to drive as well. They seem to be a bit more comfortable than a car. You're higher up in the seating position, seems nicer. And
yes.
Everything just seems to at hand. And the last one we drove was when my daughter moved house. We hired a like a rental van for a long wheelbase one, and we to drive it from up here in Cumbria down to Manchester to pick her stuff up and then move it down to Sheffield. And really enjoyed driving the van. It was a new van, and it was it was lovely and comfortable, and they just seemed to have a nicer driving position and everything in them. Yeah,
well, I'm very much looking forward to getting mine. I just, it's quite a large lump of money for me, and so I'm slightly nervous about it, and hope that when I drive back, It doesn't conk out. It shouldn't do. And the gentleman I'm buying it from is a viewer of the show. I'm not going to say who. And he, he's got my best interests at heart, and it's a lovely van, and we've spoken and what have you. But you still get a bit nervous about parting from a significant amount of money, which actually would buy some pretty nice camera equipment.
Yeah. I think the thing with vans is they're quite, when you think about workmen that use them, and there's some really old ones running around, they take quite a bit of hammer, and
they must do. Yeah,
and I think that the design for that and the type of use, if you buy them with reasonably low mileage on them, the amount of what the use such as yourself would give them, I don't think they should last forever, really.
Fantastic. Well, that's a good endorsement. Thank you so much, Richard. I need to show some videos because we're running a bit late now.
Yeah.
But that's so nice of you to call in.
Yeah, right. Enjoyed it. Thank you. Thanks very much.
It's my pleasure. And another hello to Anis, and thank you for saying hello. And keep watching.
Will do. Yeah, will do. Right. Thank you. Good night.
Take care, Richard. Bye-bye.
Yeah, good night. Good night.
Oh, bless. How about that? That's amazing. There we are. That's Richard and Anis up north in Cumbria. So there we are, Robert. You've got competition, dear boy. You've got competition. How fantastic. This is what we like. Okay, so thank you. You've got loads of comments there, but I must get to... I can't remember how many videos we've shown now. Let's have a look in the video box. So we got two more videos. We'll have to play them back to back. Okay, so I'm going to start with Andrew Norris. This is lovely. This Andrew Norris. He does make some fantastic videos, and he sends. This is lovely. But of course, at the beginning, you may think that you're watching the Italian mafia. You'll see why. But it's great. Thanks so much, Andrew.
You must excuse the sunglasses. It's very bright today. And we are in Dalmatia, and we are going to be carrying out one particular tradition which everybody does around here, and that's grape picking. After about an hour or so, we've picked about half the vineyard. I think there are about 9 or 10 rows. We've done 6, I think. So Dragon's taking those to be milled, and we shall carry on. This morning I was woken by some strange sounds going on in the basement, and my in-laws were involved in their alchemic practices. Don't quite understand the process, but the results are always pretty amazing. Making red wine and a rosé. But I'll show you some of the magic I filmed this morning. It's amazing to think that Yasser's father is 94 and her mother here is 84, and they still work the vineyard. This one's definitely cooking. Mm. This is the rosé, isn't it? And instead of an airlock, there's just a hole in the top of the barrel. extra wine was put on top to act as an airlock, and as you can see, it's bubbling through. A koliko dugo moramo čekati da je gotovo?
10 dana. A ovo počeo, ono kad dođemo u 4. mjesecu, 3. ne znam nije.
In March, April, it'll be ready for drinking.
Between March and April, it'll be ready for drinking, be straight over. Have no worries. Isn't that amazing? I love that old style way of doing things. No airlock, just a hole in the barrel and just fill the top bit with a bit of the old fermented stuff, and it acts as an airlock. Of course it does. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Andrew, that's lovely. Fantastic. And those grapes, how wonderful is that? Just to see people doing it in the old proper hand way of doing it. Marvellous. Although, as Linda Kane said, no actual grape treading. You obviously got some sort of milling machine to do it, I guess. You know, it's a smallish machine. You can hardly call it industrialised. A little bit of mechanics, you know. I think H.J. Massingham would approve of the machine being used in a very small way. Do you know, whilst that was on, and we'll go to the last video in a second, but whilst that was on, I just went out into the kitchen to the Essie, my little wood range, and just to see it was, and put my hand on the hot pipe, because I was thinking, do you know, I'm going to have a bath at the end of this. I lit the fire at 3 o'clock this afternoon before the reading, and it's been keeping the house warm and got the water nice and warm. I'm going to have a nice bath. And do you know what? Stone cold. My bloody kids, well, my youngest son and his girlfriend, they're continually nicking the hot water. I think, looking forward to have a nice relax in the bath before I go to bed. Be lovely. And then I get, I see, you've nicked the hot water, have you? And they always nick it just as I'm letting the Essie die down, thinking, well, I don't need that now because I'm going to go to bed. The water is hot. And it so I've had to put some more logs on just so it was warming up a bit overnight. And so in the morning, I can have a bath. Bloody nuisance. Bloody nuisance. Yes, I've got the immersion heater in, but I don't want to put the immersion heater on. The whole point is that I don't want to spend any more money on that bath. Anyway, do you remember Gabriel? Of course you do. He rang in at the beginning of the show. Lovely bloke. He's got part 3 of that fascinating visit to Wells Cathedral and the Scissor Arches. Let's see if we can catch up with that.
This here is actually another chantry chapel, and it's the chantry chapel of Dr. Sugar, who was a lawyer, and he was the chancellor, if my memory serves me right, of the cathedral, and his house remains is Croscombe Manor, and that's a slightly later date, but it survives. This is the nave altar, so we're right up to date, 20th century innovation. This is a living, working church and building, insofar as it can be in these slightly troubled times. And the Millennium Project, undertaken by the cathedral, was to commission a set of altar frontals for the nave and high altar for the various seasons of the church year, and they echo each other in design, but they're not identical. An interesting little detail, and that is that the benefactor stipulated that there should be a penguin somewhere, and indeed there is.
Very gracious.
So that's the Millennium Project 2000, to bring things completely
Up to date.
much more up to date. On the rare occasions that lay people were allowed in, there was no seating for them, so if you were old or unwell, the only place to sit was the stone wall bench.
Oh, I noticed those.
And that is said by some to be the origin of the English expression that the weakest go to the wall. At the time of the abolition of the chantries, the king took the money because he was at war with France, as we were off and on, and I think there was a bill for re-roofing because the lead roof has to be taken down and remade about every 75 years or so.
Even now?
Yeah, sections of the north aisle of the north nave roof have been off and on in the last 6 years. And a hole in the budget occasioned by that meant that all the medieval brasses had to be taken up and sold. So you can see here that there was brass. If you see any brass in the floor in Wells, it's Victorian. And this isn't our excuse to explain away another figure of speech, in that when the brass was taken up, there is a nail to get down to brass tacks. Perhaps. When the Church of England was established, the services were no longer delivered in Latin, which only the learned would have understood. So it made sense to begin to be able to preach to the public. So this is the first pulpit in Wells Cathedral, and it bears the first English inscription in the cathedral. And it's a quotation from Timothy, and my heart goes out to the mason, because he suffered that dreadful disease of not having quite worked out how much space he'd got. And you know how it is when you're writing something and you get to the end of the line?
Yeah.
It happened to him, who is abbreviated
Timo.
to Timo. I spoke about the Sugar Chantry Chapel.
Mm-hmm.
The public, by and large, were illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
So use was made of these rebus. I don't know what the plural of rebus is. Rebuses, rebi.
Mm.
And this is Dr. Sugar's rebus.
Ah.
Sugar came in cones in medieval times, and still does in Mexico. So you could slice a piece off the cone. And in the middle is a doctor's cap, because he was a doctor, a lawyer. So that's Dr. Sugar's Chantry Chapel. Well, while we're here, let's have a peek at the scissor arches. I had the happy occasion to be standing, waiting to go into evensong, and there were a group of middle-aged men discussing the stonework, and I asked them if they cared to put a date on the scissor arches, and they conferred and said 1906, 1348. 1348. The main tower is above this point here, and the original main tower was a mere 17 inches above the roof of the nave, and it was probably planned to raise it. I always like to think in the 1300s of Bishop Drockansford arriving here via Salisbury and arriving with a bad case of tower envy. A taller tower meant that they were closer to the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1300s, the work began to raise the tower, and the ground here, a civil engineer I asked, and he said, water in the ground makes it soft and mobile. And I've not been able to find an accurate figure, but some calculations I did, based on some information from a mason, is that the additional height of the tower would mean stonework weighing between 3,000 and 4,000 tons, and that weight had to be taken by the pillars. And the pillars began to decay and crack and to settle. And this side, the north side, settled about 4.5 inches, and the south side about 6. So that means the tower is beginning to lean, and if it falls down, it spoils the processions terribly. Bad day. So a number of things had to be done. On a High Park tour, one can see that the height of the tower inside, it's been achieved as efforts been made to make it light and strong. It looks almost Bauhaus in effect.
Mm-hmm.
There are other works which we can see when we'll look at in a moment, but the final expression by William Joy, and finishing in 1348, are the scissor arches, and they're Wells' trademark. So that's what we're known for. And the experts argue as to whether they're actually necessary, but nobody's going to take them out.
And they're not symmetrical either, are they?
They're not symmetrical because there's a point where you can see, if you look very carefully, they have had to adapt as the same old problem as to whether you work to an absolute level or you work to the level that the building is at, and it's inevitably a compromise, and it means that they aren't symmetrical. So it's a fabulous piece of work.
It is. And is this unique?
In this kind of expression, yeah. There's a scissor arch, if you know where to look, in Gloucester. There was one in Glastonbury.
Oh, was there?
Nowhere on the same spectacular scale as this.
Amazing. Fantastic. Spectacular was the very word that I was going to come up with. Well, how about that, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much, Gabriel. An insight to Wells Cathedral there, and what a learned man he was with all his different things. Love the sugar cones. Or there's Mad Jack Fuller, isn't it, who built the sugar loaf in Brightling in East Sussex. Must go there and film that. I did a video called Oddball Eccentrics, and he was one of them. And I visited the sugar loaf, which is a folly It is a folly. It's supposed to look like Dallington Church Tower over a wager that Mad Jack Fuller could see the tower from his bedroom. He had it built away from the tower, and then when I think it was the local vicar, came and he said, look, you can see it, because he actually couldn't see it, so he had it built, just this big cone in the shape of a sugar. It's called the sugar loaf. And he said, look, I can just see the top of it. Anyway, if you don't know the story, it means nothing. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for all the videos tonight. That's been an absolute brilliant. We've gone on a bit longer than normal. Thank you for the phone calls. It's great to hear from Richard and Anis, new callers. You see, it's not difficult to give us a call and have a good old chinwag with the old Vobie. No one's going to bite your head off, and at least not if you're unknown. Sometimes Gabriel and I will have a good ding dong, but as he said to me in an email, you know, these things have got to be discussed. Whether we sit on different sides of the fence over different things, we can still remain friends, and that's what it's all about. And so that's the important thing. Thank you for all the comments. You've been very busy, and it's great to see all of that. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed any of the content tonight. Certainly a thumbs up for all our content providers, which has been superb by the videos that we've had. A big thank you to Adrian, to Gabriel, to Andrew Norris, and Andy Murphy for the contributions on that. And to you for watching, taking part, to Julia and Judith for making sure everybody's behaving themselves. We don't seem to have any trolls or problems anymore, at least not that I get to know of, which is fantastic. It's been a lovely show. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Look after yourselves. We've got one more of the canal boat videos. It's the last one. It's very nice. I like it. Hope you like it. It rounds off the story of that, which I hope you'll enjoy. And I've got some other bits and bobs for next week. So that's it. Take care. Have a good time. Very nice to be with you and spend the evening with you. It's always a joy. And let's take that off, and I will say goodbye. Good night. Good night. There we are. Told you I'd say it. Till next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.